Welcome to A Certain Style of Podcast, episode 23. This week, me, Tim, and Andy are talking about some stuff we've done. We saw some films, Tim made a game, and Andy does an impression of Bane from Batman. It's worth sticking around for. Music of the week comes from John Williams. This is the theme from Jurassic Park because I just got tickets to see it at the Albert Hall with a live orchestra. It is very awesome. Enjoy the show. I'm here with Tim, Andy, I'm Guy, and we're going to talk about some things that we've been doing. We haven't been here for a little while, so we've accumulated some stuff to talk about, and that's what we shall do. On the table today, you see my collection of Nintendo consoles because Tim's going to talk about some game stuff today.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, so we got an old SNES, a Nintendo 64, and a Game Boy Advanced.
Good.
Good. Did you guys not really play Nintendo?
No,
When you were growing up?
I had a Sega
Oh,
Master System.
Right. And Tim?
Yeah, I actually played the GameCube most of all.
Okay, I have one of those somewhere. I don't
Do you?
know. I don't know where it is.
It was just, I loved the version of Mario on it.
What was on it?
Well, the great thing about that version of Mario was that you could play co-op, and it was good co-op. Like, subsequent to that, the co-op is all a bit naff, but with that one, like, the person on the back could help nudge carts next to you and steal their weapons and stuff like that.
Mario Kart.
Yeah.
Ah.
What did I say?
I thought you just meant like Mario platformer.
Oh.
Straight up Mario.
Maybe I didn't say cart, but yeah, I meant Mario Kart.
Sure.
Mm.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So you guys good today?
Yeah.
Good. Yes.
Cool. We're on single word answers, aren't we today?
I'm still recovering from Sunday's epic. Saturday's epic.
Oh, Talk Fest or your Camping
Yeah.
Fest?
Both.
Both.
Yeah.
All right. In order, we watched the episode 1 documentary on Saturday, a video which will go live at some point this week, which was quite interesting.
Yeah.
Very revealing stuff about George Lucas and the making of episode 1. What did you guys think? I know you don't want to talk about it because we did all Saturday.
We've
but
expressed our opinions at length.
But what? So I was thinking about this.
Overall, generally, I think we all agreed that we felt a bit more sympathy towards George Lucas than we had previously.
Would you agree, Tim?
Yes.
Good, there's that one word answer. So I was thinking about this in the car because I wanted to distill it down into something very short because I'm not so good at that, so I tried. And when I was at school, we used to be graded with an effort grade and an actual grade, like for content or whether you successfully did what they asked you to do. So you get like an A1 would be the best you could possibly get. You got an A for effort and you got A1 for content. Now I would give George Lucas an A for effort and maybe a 3 for execution and content. Yeah. And it's kind of weird. I used to get a lot of those. I used to get a lot of
A3.
Nope. I used to get a lot of A for effort and 4s for content. It's like you tried really hard, but it's all wrong, which is quite remarkable. So yeah, I'd put him in that category, an A3 for episode 1. Anyway,
I think we'd all broadly agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think. I think he just maybe pushed it a bit too.
I think nobody disagrees particularly strongly that he didn't try.
And also, but I think content-wise, it was hard at the time to see that stuff was going to be bad.
Yeah.
Like,
one of the most interesting scenes from the documentary for me was when it showed him having just seen it for the first time.
Yeah.
Like the preview screening. That was really interesting.
Yeah.
Because he could tell right then.
Oops.
It was just a bit all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
all right. Right. No, good.
It's worth watching a documentary if you can see it.
It is. It really is. You can see it on YouTube. I learned a bit more about him because I would have said that he didn't necessarily put in as much effort. From what I remember about it, but actually seeing it again, he did get that A for effort. Because when I was going into that documentary, having not seen it for a while, I did think he was around about like the C for effort. So yeah, he did put it in, but I did think that he didn't.
The way he talked about stuff, he sounded a little bit unsure. You know, it wasn't like he was kind of super confident about everything that he said. Whereas I think, like, I've seen documentaries about other directors who are like, it must be like this. This is how it's going to be, and he was a bit more, well, we could try it like this, and this might work, and kind of. I mean, it was a bit more that kind of. I mean, he was pushing the boundaries, so he was kind of. He was saying like, you know, it wasn't quite as questioning as that. It was more sort of like, this is what I want it to happen, and there was lots of shots of people looking a little bit scared.
All right. What else did you do, Andy? That was Saturday. You did your thing on Friday.
Yeah, so I've been doing. It was my second micro adventure on Friday. So there's a.
Does micro stand for like having a really small amount of enjoyment?
No, it's the length of time you spend on it, and I just Alistair Humphreys, that's the guy.
He wrote a book.
He wrote a book, and he also has a blog about doing little mini adventure trips, because it's hard to actually make time to do big trips and stuff when you're busy working and you've got, you know. So he talks about these micro adventures where you just do one night, you go somewhere, you don't take a tent, you just camp out under the stars. So we've done it twice. Both times it poured down rain. So
we live in the UK, Andy. What did you think was going to happen?
So we were under tarps, but it was good. It was felt adventurous. The first one we had to wade through flooded fields of ice cold water
to get to a closed pub.
Get to a closed pub, and then had a 5-mile walk to the site where we were staying. And then we couldn't get the fire going because it was wet. So
sounds great.
It's all about the adventure, Tim.
No, I take the mate, but
so yeah. So that's what Friday night.
Good for you for doing them.
We didn't have to wait. We stayed fairly local, and no, it was good.
Once a month?
Yeah, once a month.
Is that the plan?
We've got March next. We're gonna we might do a bit of pre-prep and find a location before, because wandering around a wood in the dark is quite hard to do.
You did pick a kind of an alright date, because literally the day after we got a storm, right?
Yeah, we brought it forward a day because it was originally going to be Saturday, and then we saw the weather forecast and Storm Imogen was blowing in, so we shifted it forward a day, which was wise, but it still was wet, but it was fun. Neat.
I've been watching a lot of X-Files. X-Files went on Amazon, and the new series has just come out, and I've been watching a lot of X-Files.
How was it compared to what you remember?
Everything I remember comes from the first series.
Yeah.
And now we're on to season 2, and I don't remember so much stuff, but it's quite good. It's good when it's good, and it's really bad when it's bad, like really bad. And the first series is definitely dated, but the rest of it looks pretty neat.
What's your favourite episode so far?
I don't know. Good question. Come back to me on that one.
Are you liking the whole sort of long-term alien abduction thing, or is it have you enjoyed the quirky kind of episode ones?
So my sister's the biggest X-Files fan in the world, and so me and Jem are watching these, but there's quite a lot of episodes per season, and we didn't really want to watch everything because there's an awful lot of rubbish in there. So we found a list that's called like a skippable list, which takes you through like the sort of key episodes that move story along. But my sister did me my own one, which was cool. So she went through and did a sort of mini review of every episode and said, this is story, this is skippable because it's not very good, this isn't story but it's actually quite good because of these reasons. So I've been following that, and that's worked out pretty good so far. But in answer to your question, the pilot is really good. The pilot was filmed obviously before season 1, and that stands up really well. Like, it looks like they put a lot of money into it, and it doesn't look that 90s. And then you get to what would be episode 1 of the actual series, and you're straight into the 90s. It's quite a big change. Like, they all got different costumes, and their hair was slightly different. And yeah, the pilot is a bit more like a feature film.
Yeah.
I like that.
Do you think they have more money for the pilot?
Yeah, I guess so. But it got a lot better. The difference between season 1 and 2 is remarkable. But yeah, there is some absolute crap in there. If you remember X-Files fondly, then you only remember the good bits.
Remind us of one of the bad.
There's an episode where there's that face on Mars.
Oh yeah.
It's something to do with that, and there's a general who went to space and he encountered something, and that messed him up a bit. And now he's running NASA. So he was an astronaut, had this encounter, now he's running NASA, and he freaks out a little bit, and he does this weird face warp thing, which kind of morphs his face between his and...
I remember that episode.
It's a little bit creepy, but it's
creepy,
so bad. It's so
Between
bad.
him and what?
The face on Mars.
Face on Mars.
What's the face?
There's a face on Mars. It's just a rocks, like formation of rocks that look like a face.
Oh, right.
People see stuff in. That's that thing. You can see stuff in anything because you're just used to recognizing shapes and stuff, I believe. So there's random rock formations on Mars that people think are things when actually they're not. The brain's just telling you what you want to hear.
Yeah, there's loads of them now with the rovers buzzing around. People keep thinking, oh, there's a floating woman, and
there was a thing that looked like a
mouse.
face hugger. There was a thing that looked like a face hugger. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, there was a mouse recently.
Was there a mouse?
Yeah.
Mars mouse.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. And I know you don't want to talk about it, but I'm going to talk about Star Wars for a little bit.
We've already spoken about it.
I know, but that was something else.
That was 5 minutes ago.
That's something, yeah. That was something we did collectively. This is something I've been doing on my own time. But I have a real big appreciation for the music of Star Wars. There's a box set up there, which is the coolest collection of StarArs stuff you can get. It has like unused tracks and things like that. And there's an entire podcast on a station called Rebel Force Radio, which does a bunch of Star Wars related podcasts. Seriously, they have like 5 shows every month. I don't know, they do way more than we do, so I don't think we don't do too badly on the Star Wars quota compared to them. But they do one called Star Wars Oxygen, and it's a guy called David W. Collins who works for he used to work for LucasArts and did a lot of the computer game stuff, and he does a lot of sound mixing, and he basically analyzes the soundtracks, and it's really cool because he picks out an awful lot of stuff that I never knew about, and I've listened to them thousands. I mean, you guys have both been in the room with me working recently when there's just been Star Wars playing constantly. I've been doing that my entire life, and he points out a bunch of stuff that I didn't know.
Such as?
Really good stuff. All right, so the best one, I was going to do a sound clip for it, but you should listen to the show, and they do it way better. So we watched the episode 1 documentary. Tim, you watched episode 1 not that long ago. There are some very bad bits in episode 1, one of them being the scene at the end when they all have a big celebration, and then there's lots of singing. You remember that bit, Andy?
In episode 1?
Yeah. It's like a celebration at the end.
Bit like the Ewok village.
A little bit,
thing,
yeah. A little bit.
Yeah,
so there's like some...
Yeah,
there's some like chant, like singing in some other language on Naboo, and there's loads of people happy and blah, 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 blah. And there's a big lineup at the end, and it's all about peace between Naboo and the Gungan people. And Anakin's there, and Palpatine's there, and Abdallah's there, and Obi-Wan's there, and everyone's there, and it's a nice lineup at the end. Bad scene, but the music within that parade, if you break down just the singing and the tune that plays, it's the Emperor's theme. And that's really cool because it's all about the Emperor rising to power through episodes 1, 2, and 3. And you have this really kind of jovial song, and it's just singing the Emperor's theme in a really upbeat way. But when you know that, it's like that scene becomes a little bit better because it is like the first step that he takes to get himself into power. And that's just one of the things that they've spoken about.
I thought you were going to say you play it in reverse and it.
No. There's nothing like that. They highlight a lot of the themes of characters that recur in the films, and like when they show up and why they show up, and structures of songs. It gets very music technical, which is quite interesting as well, like the structure of music and
Talks
how
about the keys and...
a little bit. It's like why certain things are in a certain sort of key or in a certain like tempo or whatever. I don't know music terminology, but it sounds cool, and I would recommend checking it out if you like Star Wars music. They've literally done 20. They're on 27 episodes, and they're doing the Force Awakens soundtrack, so they've done everything up
so
till then.
Quite in depth.
Yeah, you get like 4-hour-long episodes per soundtrack.
Wow.
It's good. Like I say, it's hardcore. But yeah, I'm really enjoying that at the moment. It's really good. It's really good. So I binged on that recently and neglected all my other podcasts, and now I have like 20 listened to podcasts, which is something I've got to catch up on. in all the infinite time we have. But yeah, there you go. Star Wars done. That's very cool. If you have any idea about the music of Star Wars and appreciate it in any way, check out Rebel Force Radio's Star Wars Oxygen. Yeah.
All 26 hours of it.
Yeah, it's probably more than that because some of them go over an hour, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, there's a lot. There is a lot there. Cool. Tim, what have you been up to recently?
Well, I feel I should mention my very good friend Karis is back now. So that's really lovely. She's been travelling in New Zealand for quite a long time. And yes, found out from her that we have a new listener.
Yeah.
Well, a listener that we didn't know about. So Irish Dean, hello.
Hi, Irish Dean.
Hello, Dean.
You make our podcast a global podcast.
Yeah, thank you for listening. No idea why you do, but keep it up.
Tell us why you do.
He
Yeah,
cycles a
actually
lot
do.
apparently, so maybe he just needs while away the time on the road.
Surely the sound of like air passing by your ears is better.
So Dean, you have quite a lot of power at the moment. If you do enjoy our podcast, you're sort of one of the few people who has said so. And therefore, if you want us to talk about something that particularly interests you, then let us know, and we'll talk about that for a bit. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
There you go, Dean. You get the first request.
Accept the challenge and send us something, and we'll talk about it. Even if we don't know anything about it, because we're quite good at that, we will talk about it. So yeah. Global audience.
Yeah. So other than that, I've been doing a bit more game stuff, messing around with Unreal Engine, learning more of that. It's cool. Lots of really powerful stuff. It's quite exciting. And I also took part in Global Game Jam, which is
It was a global game jam.
Yeah.
It's an annual event, and different venues around the world host it, and you sort of go there either with some people that you plan to work with, or just on your own and do it by yourself, or on your own and try and find some people to do something with. So I did that, and you, much like a short film, try to make a game in 48 hours over the weekend, and that was really good fun.
And you did it.
Yeah,
You made a game.
It's not the best game in the world, but fairly proud of it. It's nice little thing.
So going back to we just touched on music. Where did the music come from that game? Because it's quite addictive, even though it's kind of weird.
So there was a couple of guys who were sourcing sound throughout the weekend, which is like super helpful.
Yeah.
So I don't actually know where it comes from, but I know that it's all like royalty free or whatever. So
It's good.
So was that their job the whole weekend, was just finding music?
it was kind of a mix. So there was two of us that were developers, and then there was one guy who was the main artist, and then there were two other guys who helped us with the design of the game and finding sound clips and thinking about all sorts of things, including instruction text and all those bits that it's nice to have someone actually dedicate some time to. So it was
cool. So were you the main?
No, I was like secondary programmer. There's a guy who I worked with called Pete, who was pretty good at Unity, which is what we used. I've used Unity a little bit, but he knew a lot about it, so it was very good for me. I learned a lot.
Unity's a game engine, for those who don't know, much like Unreal, which is
much like Unreal,
also a game engine.
Yeah.
So what's your game about? What do you do?
So the brief
I know what you do.
was rituals. So it was coming up with an idea around rituals, and for ours, we started off with thinking what would be really cool is to make a game that made the player start performing a ritual rather than it being explicitly about a ritual. So with that in mind, we started creating this sort of circular small planet that you can kind of like jump around in 2D, and it's got various actions you can perform around the world. You can get a fish from the lake.
You can kill a guy.
You can sacrifice a follower at an altar. And the sort of central like indicator of what's going on is there's a temple that you're trying to get built, and every time the sun sort of completes the cycle, it's the end of the day, your temple either grows or shrinks, depending on whether there's a natural disaster going on. It's getting into specifics rather much, but there are some different natural disasters, and basically what actions you take potentially stop those disasters. But actually we haven't specified what actions do stop them. So the idea is that a player, this doesn't come across as well as we'd hoped because we just didn't have enough time to polish, but the idea is that you go and perform an action, like you'll go and take an apple and offer it at a particular altar, and suddenly the earthquakes that have been happening will stop, and you'll go, okay, so that's what I need to do to stop the earthquake. But in reality there's only a marginal sort of correlation between that and the earthquake stopping, and so the idea was to make the player start doing this every time the earthquake happened, and build up like some behavior, build up a ritual that
Like
they started doing.
Pavlov's dogs.
And would that then reinforce the effect?
Yeah, but there's also a sort of point there, which is that it's not really based on anything, like a lot of rituals. It's that kind of,
You just think
yeah,
I did that this time, so it must work.
like a rain dance or something like
Yeah.
that. That's kind of where the
One day
idea
you do a
came
dance
from.
and the rain stops.
Well,
Yeah.
You'll forever do that.
Let's do that again.
Yeah.
So that was the idea. Didn't totally pull it off, but for 2 days it's
I enjoy your game and I hate it at the same time, Tim.
because
I think
it's hard to win.
Yeah, it is hard to win, but we were talking about this about another game, and it does fit within that category of, like, I haven't put much time into it, but I've put some time into it, and I'm getting it wrong because I'm getting it wrong. Like, the game isn't that unfair. It's tough, but I'm just not learning what goes where strictly enough for me to complete the game. So I'm getting annoyed, but I'm all right about it because I know I could if I spent more time, and that's quite nice for a game. It's like, it's that you basically don't end up screaming at the game. You just get annoyed with yourself, which is exactly what you want to do.
So it doesn't have levels. It just
No.
just days.
Just day cycle. But the what's really interesting is that within like a day of putting it up on the Global Game Jam website, which, bear in mind, something like 6,700 games got submitted over that weekend, right? Ours doesn't have like a lot of views or a lot of plays or whatever, but nevertheless it has already been covered by 2 like random YouTubers, and they played it through and they talked to camera about it, and it's like, that's really, really cool.
Yeah.
But I found it really fascinating that they can stay so calm when they must be feeling so frustrated. Like, I know that's part of like what you do when you're doing a playthrough on YouTube. It's kind of everything's positive. But nevertheless, I have been feeling like, oh God, you poor guys. Like, you've been playing that for 20 minutes and you still don't know, like, you still didn't realize that one thing stopped that event. So you're just trying random things one after another. Yeah, so very interesting.
No,
experience.
it's good. It's really good. Like, for a single level game, which I guess essentially is, it's like it doesn't advance any more than the one world you're on. So you go around in a circle, and there are like 5 altars, and there are 5 other things you can interact with those altars with, and some of them work and some of them don't. I guess there aren't that many combinations. Are there that many combinations? Without ruining it,
I don't know. There's probably not a lot. It's probably 20 or less. Yeah.
so it's totally doable.
Yeah.
Just gotta want to do it.
There's a kind of a bug which makes it hard, but I kind of like the fact that it's really hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if there was level progression, then you want like another world, another set of rules. But because there's only one set of rules, you do want to make that last as long as you can.
The only slightly sad thing is that I quite like it when the volcano erupts, and the volcano doesn't erupt until quite near the end of the game, like when you're doing well. But the particle effects and everything is really cool when it erupts.
Yeah, I'm writing a blog about it at the moment, so that will be the link and stuff going up on the website if you want it, and obviously check out Facebook because Tim's got it up there. But I was like, Tim, can I have a screenshot? The volcano is pretty cool. You're like, yeah, you're never going to get to that.
Yeah.
So I need that screenshot.
Yeah. So I want to make more games.
Sounds good.
Just need some good ideas.
That's a good idea.
Did you
Just
all
do
come
more
up
of
with the
that.
idea, or did?
Oh, I mean, very much a group thing.
Yeah.
I think I was certainly approaching it from I wanted the player to sort of start performing a ritual. I thought it would be really cool to like look over someone's shoulder and see them like repetitively doing something that is totally different to someone else to sort of do the same thing, just because that's what they concluded in their head.
How did the process compare? Because it's a good example of stuff that we do, because we've done 48-hour film competitions, which is kind of what this is, but for games, whereby you have to do something in 2 days. How does that compare, making a game to making the film, in terms of what you do and when?
I think in a lot of ways it's quite similar.
You have to commit to the idea pretty quickly.
You do, and much like shooting, like on the day, if you've got extra ideas or whatever, you can go and shoot them. You can do that instead, but you need to basically stick to your core idea.
Yeah.
And on your, the third day, or depending on how you look at it, because Friday evening, Saturday, Sunday, then like on the Sunday when you're doing posts and stuff like that and editing, you can sort of change things a bit.
Yeah.
It's a similar thing, really. I'm trying to think.
Because there is that extra step in the filmmaking where you can sort of change things. It's like the edit can save stuff as long as you shoot something. Whereas I guess it can create a divide when you come up with the idea, and then when you're on the day, it can also be like people can still debate stuff, and then on the final day you can still debate stuff. But does that all happen up front, or is there tons of debate all the way through?
Well, no, it's pretty consistent. Fundamentally as well, with a game, you don't know that it's fun until you play it.
Yeah.
And we wanted to have something playable by Saturday,
right?
But we didn't have anything playable until like an hour before we needed to submit it, and we barely got a chance to tune it at all. So
48 hours.
That was a failure in that sense. Like next time if we do it, definitely try and do it so you can have something more playable more early. And even though that's what we were trying to do, just couldn't. There's a slightly different sort of bottlenecking effect, like just one artist working on it trying to make all the art, like that's really tough. And we used a lot of programmer art and stuff like that in place, and it's very hard to sort of tell. So you don't quite get that in film, because everybody's doing something at once on the shoot day, or not being useful, whatever. And that's kind of it. It's you can't work at different paces.
Yeah.
There's only one speed.
Go.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was also a bit different with the editing because yeah, you can just select the best bits and put them together in a way, even if it doesn't make something coherent.
In filmmaking.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, it's a bit of a failure if you don't make something coherent. But with a game,
we call that an art house film, Tim.
Yeah, but with a game, there's so many ways it can break, and so many ways it can be unplayable entirely. And ours was very, very nearly unplayable. So, yeah, yeah.
Good job. I think it's good. You should play it, Andy. It's
I will.
It's kind of fun.
I feel bad I haven't.
You'll like the music.
Cool.
What's really cool is that there's loads of sound effects for like a 2-day game. There's like footsteps when he walks. When you ask a follower to follow them, they sort of grunt. Like there's loads of like subtle stuff. When the changes from night to day, there's like crickets and stuff like that, and lots of stuff that you wouldn't necessarily pick out. But it does add a lot to the atmosphere.
I've seen the screenshots of it, and visually it looks pretty good. I like the style.
Yeah, you have added a lot of subtlety. I remember because I was trying to get screenshots, and I was like, okay, I really want to get a shot of a nice like the moon, because the moon and the sun, like the Aztec kind of like, I don't know what you call it.
Type.
Yeah,
yeah,
and they look really cool. But because you only get it, does that zoom out thing when you're running and moving, and it's like screen grab, and then when you stop, it just zooms in again, and it's like, but that playing gives you a nice. It's not. Yeah, it feels good. Again, for 2 days, like that kind of stuff makes a game that much more like enjoyable to play.
Yeah,
it's like you care about how the game is gonna play it rather than just getting a game out.
Yeah,
and keeping that in 2 days is pretty unique.
Yeah, so I'd definitely do it again if the situation arose. And it was all hosted by the SAE Institute in Oxford, and it was a really good venue for it actually. So,
what's the SAE?
They're like a kind of a university college that does courses a lot in digital media and stuff. Actually, had no idea that they existed, which is a big part of why they hosted it. But yeah, they have a lot of courses and good facilities.
What's it stand for?
I don't know.
Oh,
yeah. Just notice
Maybe it doesn't stand for anything.
No.
CE. It's a word.
Say.
Say Institute.
Yeah.
Yeah, could be.
Cool.
Yeah, and so the guy who was sort of organising it and went to all the effort, Sergio, he
Cool name.
Yeah, he's a lecturer there. And
Is he American?
I
Sounds American.
actually didn't ask where he's originally from,
Ah.
but he has a big background in doing 3D stuff, and he mostly does like lecturing around 3D stuff, and he's getting all his students to like make short films and stuff with him, shooting people on green screen and making like starship decks and stuff like that.
I may have met this guy. At a
We should meet
networking
this guy.
thing. Yeah, I think
We need to meet
He's
this
a
guy.
really, really nice guy.
Does he sound American? Has he got an accent?
Yeah, he's a really, really nice guy.
I think I've met him at one of those networking things.
Yeah, quite
Audio
possibly.
Motion.
I think, yeah, he's quite active.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that was also really awesome. Really nice to talk to someone about all this kind of stuff. And poor guy, he slept probably about 4 hours, like on the sofa over the entire weekend.
Wow.
And yeah,
That's how you make stuff.
yeah,
Get used to it.
yeah. So no, but he was making a game whilst like,
Organising.
Oh,
organising
he was
it and
getting.
making
Oh,
sure.
okay. All right, fine.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So-
that's hardcore.
yeah,
Good for him.
good guy.
Mm.
Yeah.
Sergio. Cool. That noise is the shopping being
I
delivered.
guess that. Yeah.
That's what that is. If you can hear it.
What about you, guy?
Well, we saw a film. We saw a big film. We saw a really big film called Leonardo's Bad Week. This is The Revenant, which we
Yes.
went to see, which is a good film.
Yeah, well, I really enjoyed it.
It's a really good film. It's weird.
Tim hasn't seen it, has he?
Not yet.
So
No,
can't
we
do-
won't spoil it. It's realistic.
Yes.
Is the way I would describe it. I didn't
Gritty.
find I had a lot to say about it afterwards, other than it was a good film.
My friend Kevin, he put a good shift in.
He put a shift in, yeah.
He put a shift in.
What? That's a great phrase which we should all start using.
Yeah.
I didn't really know what it meant, but now I know what it means.
Yeah.
It means he put in like a good hard shift,
Yeah.
like when you work hard, because Leonardo works really hard. A lot of people come out saying, does he deserve the Oscar for it, because everyone thinks he's going to win an Oscar for that performance, and he probably will. And I think he deserves it, maybe just because it was a really
did a
hard.
lot of heavy breathing.
He did a lot of reacting, I found. Like,
There's a lot of reacting. There's not a lot of dialogue for him.
yeah, it's
I think
but it's a good performance.
Tom Hardy had more to say.
Yeah, but I put that down to like Tom Hardy's doing traditional acting in the film. He's kind of the bad guy, and he does have more lines and he has more to do interacting with other characters.
He's very good in it.
and he is. Yeah, I mean, he's good in a lot of.
Is he? He's not up
he's-
for best support. Is he?
Don't know. I don't know. Everyone's talking about Leo.
He should be up for best support.
Yeah, I think he should. But Leo's doing the kind of reactionary thing. He's like, just basically, it seems that he's been thrown into a situation, and then what they do, it's almost like they just filmed how he would react to that and what a human being would do in
Punch
that
him in
situation.
the face and they go, right, react.
yeah, it's like he gets attacked by a bear, which is pretty bad, and it's like that's very realistic, and it's like everything that happens after that is just like how you would survive in that environment. So he's acting, but he's kind of just doing what you'd sort of think someone would do in that situation, and that passes you by because he's not doing anything in your face. He's just doing.
Yeah, but
He's
that
just
is
doing.
the
And he's
art
not
of
doing
acting,
anything superhuman. Like, I mean, it is pretty amazing that he survives, but it's not like he's sort of doing judo chops and kind
Sure.
of flying off, bouncing off
But
trees
it's
and
like-
stuff.
If you saw the cuddly bear he had to act against, I guess it's probably a lot more impressive, right?
I think it was
if
a
he's
CG
managed-
bear.
Yeah, but they'll put like a
Yeah, they'll
prop
put
in
a real
place.
thing in, so he's got
Oh, it was
something
all
physical
cable. It was
to.
all done with cables. They were
really?
like, lobbing him around.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, but have
He
an
must have
actual
had. He
bear
must have
to
had
look at or
something. He must have had something to.
I don't think there
Put
was an
pressure on him.
actual bear in the scene.
Not a
with-
real
Not
bear.
re- not.
This is
Otherwise, those effects guys don't deserve anything they're going to get for that scene.
What I know
Because it
what
was
you
a
mean.
real
You
bear.
basically, was there a guy with a bear face on like.
Or some wood with a bit of fur on it.
Something you can physically grab, because you do need
yeah.
something physical, even though they take it out later.
Yeah, okay.
But anyway, getting technical there. But yeah,
I was. It was very like edgy of your seat kind of cinema. That
it's just
and it's very very well done.
Yeah, it's a different kind of acting, and it is good. There's a cool nod to Star Wars, which I liked. Because you got to get Star Wars in.
Yeah.
If you've seen the film, you know what I mean.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll wait.
It's good. Must encourage people to see it at the cinema if they can, because it is the prettiest film you'll see.
Yeah,
probably this year, and it's only January. It's just like February, and that will be the best looking film of the year. I think it looks really good. Everything was shot
in.
Go on.
No, I was going to say.
Should we do it at the same time?
Yeah.
Shot in available.
No, go on.
All right. It was shot in available light. Yeah. How did you guess, Tim? How did you guess?
Really?
So it was all on location as well. So this is all outside, pretty much. There's very few interiors, and everything
Most
is
of it
done.
was in Canada.
Most of it's in Canada. It's very cold, obviously, so there's no fake smoke coming out of people's mouths. It's all real. And if they wanted to shoot at twilight, which let's say you only get an hour, they would go out for 3, 4, 5 days until they got all that stuff, shooting for 1 hour a day. That gets even more complicated when you realize that the film was shot in sequence as well, and that's pretty doable because there's not like any going back and forth between locations. It's all like he just goes from one place to another, but still that's quite an achievement in terms of filmmaking when you see the film and where they go and what they do in those locations. There's some horse riding stuff in that with the cameras next to them that I can't get.
Yeah, no, that was.
How do they do that?
Well, there was a shot where the camera's stationary.
Yeah.
And the horse runs past.
Yeah.
And then the camera
is next to him.
Then
on the
follows
horse.
the guy on the horse.
Yeah.
But this is the guy who did Birdman. This is the guy who directed Birdman. So he probably came up with some cool techniques.
Whether there's some hidden shots, hidden cuts.
That was all sort of done in a one take style. So whether he
the luxury of being able to do that.
Yeah. But no, it was good. But we have also seen the Quentin Tarantino film.
Nope.
Oh, you haven't? Okay. I see it. I couldn't remember who I saw it with, but I think that was Graham. Do you want me to wait until you've seen it?
Just don't spoil it. If you want to talk about it, go ahead. Just don't spoil it.
Okay. It's long,
please.
But
of course it is. Tarantino.
You should probably say what the film is.
Sorry. It's the
it's a Tarantino film.
Hateful Eight.
That's all you need to know.
Which I saw, and it's very long, but it has an interval, which is handy.
Did you get ice cream?
I didn't get ice cream. No.
They should have a guy with ice cream if there's an interval. There has to be ice cream.
I could have gone to.
But they need a guy with a thing around the neck with the box. And
you so wouldn't have had time.
You get about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
No, because they come down to the aisle. Like they come into the cinema and then they in intervals they should bring in the
but I'm talking about
ice cream.
Probably if you went to like the View or something like that.
Yeah.
Like last time we went there, it was like a 20-minute wait to get.
It wasn't that busy, so it probably would have been good. But visually, it looked really good. The cinematography's pretty stunning, similar
as you'd expect
in style. Yeah,
both shot on very large format.
Yeah, it's very wide, and considering a lot of it takes place in one room, one sort of large cabin space. I really enjoyed the ultra wide view because quite often you could see the other characters in the scene, but even though they weren't actually taking part, they were doing their thing in the corners and at the edges and stuff.
Well, that's quite interesting, actually.
I thought that was so that although you've got the focus of the main characters or there's some interaction, you can still see what other people are doing in the.
It's like very well done fisheye.
Yeah, but no, ultraviolet, but it's a Quentin Tarantino film. Yeah. But it's kind of comedy, sort of a bit almost cartoony, I guess. violence sometimes, so it wasn't too. I think some of the violence when I after Django Unchained I found hard to watch, whereas this I found was easier.
Not so serious?
Yeah, I guess maybe not so serious. And yeah, it's obviously not based on a true story or anything, so not that Django was.
Is there a shot in that film where the camera just doesn't move anywhere and lots of stuff happens in front of it? And it never moves.
There's a very long opening shot where the camera does move.
Of course there is.
But it moves very slowly. But I actually quite enjoyed that. I guess it was a sort of slight homage to the whole, Lawrence of Arabia kind of, you're following a horse and carriage from,
oh
distance.
no!
What?
That's why it's so long.
Yeah.
You're following it for like an hour long.
Yeah, that's what they did.
But no, I enjoyed that film.
Yeah, there's they shot on 70mm, which is something people don't really do nowadays. And like one cinema in the UK was projecting that.
Is that the one where they shoot it with the film going?
I think it goes the other way. Yeah.
So
but it is a larger frame to begin with.
Yeah.
And likewise.
Do they do it with 235s? No.
Nope. It's just one big massive cell.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Oh right, so it's not because what's the format where they turn it at a 90-degree angle?
You can do that with you can do that with 35 for a different aspect, but this is
actually the bigger film. So
yeah, because when you start putting like anamorphic lenses on stuff, you can squeeze an image.
Do you have to get that specially made for you now?
You can put the film in anyway and squeeze the image out afterwards. Do you need to get all the film? No, there's stock left of things. It's just hard. There are people making it still, just not much. That would have been relatively expensive to do, so not a lot of people doing it. And especially like the bad thing is that you can't see it anywhere. Like it's the greatest thing when someone does that for a good reason and they shoot their film in a particular way. But if 99% of the screens in the UK can't play that, then that's just it's a bit of a shame. But the Revenant was the first big feature film to be shot on the Alexa 65, which is kind of a similar sort of thing, but with a digital camera. So bigger sensor, more like the sort of 60mm, 70mm film you get. So that was kind of cool. Again, makes the film look that much bigger. Yeah,
well, I did notice like some of the shots where they were lit by the fire and stuff, and thinking, wow, I wonder if they shot that under because if you see their pupils are massive.
Yeah, so
I was thinking that.
Well, guys said it was available light. Right?
Yeah, well, that's that. Yes, everything was available, but they did use a bit of.
You've been reading the trivia and Internet Movie Database.
I did. There's a fire scene where they weren't quite happy with how it was flickering because it was basically strobing and just being a little bit hard to watch. So they balanced that out with some like small orange lights. But other than that, it's all available.
It's kind of fair enough, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, you wouldn't want like fire is cool, but yeah, it's a bit unpredictable. So yeah, fair play to them.
Although they should have made a more stable fire, maybe
make a better fire.
I think it was the wind that was an issue.
Yeah. All right, I found something interesting.
Go.
You might have seen this.
Is there something you need to show on camera?
Nope. Okay. Nope. I can do it audibly.
Okay.
So those listening will get the same experience as those watching. Groundhog Day. I think it had an anniversary or something because everyone's talking about Groundhog Day. Is it like 10?
I think
however many
Sky
years
showed 24 hours of it.
They did, yes. Yeah, they showed it all day.
Yeah.
But was that because it was like a certain age or something? Is it like 30 years old, something like that now?
I don't know.
Or however, 25? What would Groundhog
possibly.
Day be?
It was 90s, wasn't it?
Anyway, coolest thing. Some guy went through and added up all the hours.
I think I read this.
It's really cool. So some guy watched the film and basically approximated how long he would have been in that Groundhog Day loop for, given all the things that he does to try and pass away the time, try and kill himself, or try and
piano,
be in love with Andy McDowell. And he learns French fluently. He learns ice sculpture, things like that. And it basically goes how long it would take you to learn this. And he is basically doing it for 34 years. So he is in Groundhog Day for 34 years.
Oh, I read a difficult.
Oh, really?
I came up with a different number.
No, well, it's 33
Right.
years and like 350 days. So I've just put it up to 34. The one I watched anyway. There's a video on YouTube you can watch.
I read an article.
I think it was on Slash Film.
What did your number say, Andy?
I was about half that. I think it was maybe like 12 years.
Well,
It's still a long time.
the point being,
when you watch that film and realise that, because the film obviously is edited quickly, so you don't really, and it doesn't go into detail about how long it takes him to learn stuff. He just suddenly can do it, and you just go, oh, cool, he learned French. You don't really realise how long that takes, or fluent French. So it makes the film it makes it a little bit darker than it is, because it's dark in some places, because he tries to kill himself a whole lot.
why does that make it darker?
Because it's quite
Can you
sinister.
imagine
Some guy
doing the
being
same
trapped
day
in the
for
same day for
34
35 years. 35 years. The same thing every day.
That's the idea.
I know it
I
is.
know, but you don't.
But you don't get
realise
that in the film. You don't get that he's been in it for that long. You get he's been in it for a long time, but 34 years is a bit extreme. That's longer than Robin Williams was in like Jumanji.
Yes, it is. That's the idea of the film. But I still don't. Yeah, I'm slightly skeptical that it adds up to 34 years because, for example, did he count learning French and learning ice sculpture as sequential or concurrent?
I'm pretty sure the one I read they spoke to the director and he he'd already hinted that there was similar sort of length. I don't think it was 30.
So like half.
Well, I can't remember exactly. It was in
because you can learn French and ice sculpture in the same.
Bill Murray probably can't. Bill Murray's lazy.
That's pretty hard.
But anyway, yeah.
Bill Murray doesn't have to be not lazy.
A number of years doing the same day every day would literally.
I like that though.
What did you think when you watched the film? That it was like a week, a year?
That's the thing. I didn't think. I watch it and I go, it's a long time, but that's not really part of.
I think you imagine
just
maybe a year at the most kind of thing.
It's just another nice little thing, like I was talking about with the Star Wars music. It's just like when you learn little things about a film you already like or enjoy. It's like that other little bit that makes you think a little bit harder and go, oh, I didn't realize that. That's cool, and makes you look at it a slightly different way. I love all that stuff, as long as it doesn't make the film bad, which I don't think it does in this case. As long as it doesn't make the film like totally fall apart and unravel like Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark when he's entirely pointless to that story. Yeah. As long as it doesn't do something like that, it's good. It's interesting. So I enjoyed that one, and I hope to see a director's cut someday.
Mm-hmm. A director's cut
that just goes on
the whole 34 years
and on. The thing is, people will buy it and watch it because it'll be Bill Murray just doing stuff, like on a webcam.
Did you know currently on the Museum of Modern Art, Oxford, they're showing the 24-hour Psycho.
What's that?
So they've an artist, I forget the name, has slowed down Psycho, the film, the original, to 24 hours.
Don't laugh. No, don't laugh. You haven't asked why yet. Do you know why?
Art.
Okay, you can laugh. I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
Why? Why?
And you can even they're even having a sleepover, and you can watch the whole thing
for a day.
24 hours. You can go and camp out and watch it in 24 hours.
I feel like that's.
I'm guessing
going to attract a certain group.
They probably had to use Twixter.
Creepy people. It's going to attract creepy people.
Yeah.
People who want to sit there and enjoy every microsecond, 24 hours worth of Psycho. It's going to attract weird people.
I can imagine the sound would be cool.
I can imagine that it's like bad Twixter.
I reckon it's probably not even that. I think it's just frame.
It's just frame at a time.
Might be right.
Yeah, possibly.
Oh dear.
It'd have to be. There's no way you could get any kind of smooth motion at that speed. It's like an hour and it's like 90 minutes.
Yeah, no, it's only 20 less. 20.
Yep, it's a number. That's why I didn't touch that.
yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah. What's the percentage?
Depends which way you.
It'd be pretty slow though. Might as well just do frame.
I think you could Twixter it.
I think you probably could, and I think Guy's right. They probably haven't.
This guy probably knows all there is to know about art and what makes art, but he doesn't know anything about video production. So yeah,
so Twixtor's a useful plugin that we use to slow footage down, and it kind of guesses frames.
But we don't do that with it. We don't slow down a film to last a day. We don't do that.
Is there something significant about 24 hours? Why 24 hours?
It'd be 5%, and you can slow stuff down. 5%.
You can, yeah.
That would work.
Yeah, and it's really slow.
Yeah. So technically, if they knew about Twixtor, they could have done it at 5%, and it
artifacting.
But they probably haven't. You're right.
There will be lots of artifacting.
I kind of imagine that will be an added bonus to the artness.
Yeah, it'd be like all weird distortion.
Shouldn't be.
We'll
Can we
go
turn up and watch it?
Yeah,
I kind of want to see now.
No, because we'll be creepy people if we do that.
We don't have to stay for the whole 24 hours. You can go and see.
But it might turn you into a creepy, but it might get you. You'll be in there, you're like, I have to watch this. I just have to watch this.
It might look really good when you do that to it.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I will stop my criticism until I've watched it for a day.
We're not going to do this.
No, but we can go to the museum and check it out.
Are they showing it?
It's on at the you can go in and look at it being on.
Well, there's 24 hours.
Yeah, as a repeat.
Like,
yeah.
For like a week.
So it's on for a month. I think.
They're going to staff the place at like midnight and stuff for that.
No, I think there's only a one-off like 24-hour sort of sleepover event.
Right.
That makes sense.
Otherwise, they're not keeping it.
Otherwise,
open.
You'll get the creepiest person who's there for the whole lot, and then kills a bunch of people.
Yeah, they're just doing a one-off one where you can stay over and watch the whole thing.
Good.
Why are they doing? Is it for some? Is it no. I got it. I got it. I don't believe it, but I get it.
It's a famous piece of art. It's touring. It's like it's been.
So it's just a singular thing. They're not doing like a film thing. They're just doing. This is someone who did this with Psycho. They're not doing like this is Alfred Hitchcock art.
They're doing a lot. So they've got Yoko Ono piece of her eye blinking. And I can't remember some other pieces.
So that is what happens when you shoot a 48-hour film and you don't get what you need. That's what comes out of it.
Yeah. I'm just thinking about licensing that.
I'm not thinking about anything anymore.
It's an art.
I'm gone.
So
do you not need to license it?
Yeah, the artist probably licensed it. They're a famous artist. It's not like just someone in Oxford's put it on.
Well, how could you tell?
You can't, that's why.
No, because it's a famous piece. Check it out.
Yeah.
Those are into art. Check it out.
Can I do that with Star Wars and then...
what film would you want to slow down 24 hours?
None of them.
I think there'd be
a film that runs at like 200 frames per second.
Yeah.
That'd be easy.
None of them. Okay. Sorry, I'm not projecting my anger at you. I'm projecting it at art.
Okay.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, I'll get it one day. And everything will be grey. Anybody got anything to add that has interested them?
Talking of museums, I went to a Heroes and Villains party.
Oh, you did?
Event at the Ashmoleum in Oxford.
I saw your pictures.
Yes, and so I went with some friends and we all dressed up as heroes and villains. I'm
going to ask you to do, don't you?
You're going to ask me to do the voice. I did.
Who did you go as?
It was a bit. I went as Bane from Batman.
Do the voice. Try it. Talking to your glass.
Where are you going? Hello.
All right.
See, I can't do it. I did it a couple of times, and then I lost it.
I absolutely agree with you.
Hello there, chap.
Yeah. He does speak a bit like this.
Actually, that was...
Hello.
That's closer. That's less Santa Claus than it was before.
He does sound like Santa Claus. That's it. If you listen to it, close your eyes. He is Santa Claus. I swear.
Next time, don't listen to what he's actually saying.
I'll do that next time.
Yeah.
And Graham was an awesome.
Yeah.
So Graham was the star star attraction.
Yeah.
He went as Lego Darth Vader, which was amazing and proved very popular with the women.
You really have to see it because I've never seen anyone dress up like that before. You think I've never seen Lego cosplay.
It was quite funny because we all had to
really
sort
good.
of look after him because he couldn't see very much.
But that is all good cosplay, right? That's all good dressing up.
Yeah, if
You can't
cosplay,
see
it's
anything.
cosplay inhibits what you can do as a regular person. You're doing it right, I think.
Yeah,
It's got to be life prohibiting.
yeah.
So yeah, he,
Can't breathe. Too hot.
yeah.
Can't see.
but you have a massive
Can't hear
sword. You have a
anything.
massive sword.
Can't
That,
drink.
you have a massive sword, and everybody
he
wants to
could
take a
drink. He had
picture
a
of you.
straw attachment so he could drink.
Which Darth Vader probably had.
Yeah,
He must have done. Otherwise,
Yeah.
what's he drinking?
but it was quite funny. He had to take the lift, and the looks on people's faces when the doors open, and he even had the breathing on a
wish-
microphone.
Did he not just?
No. Well, I wish he had the Imperial March on his microphone as well, because it's like you open the doors
yeah.
of an elevator and a bunch of people just see that in the music. Would have been the best.
Yeah, no, it was.
God, I've gone
it
crazy.
was good.
That does remind me slightly of, you seen like that prank or whatever, that cosplay of somebody as a T-Rex. They got like a pretty big T-Rex suit, and they basically just stand outside an elevator and as people come down, it's not like a cosplay event or anything. And it's just got this voice box, which is just this like, yeah.
No,
raw.
I saw because those T-Rex ones have become pretty popular. Like
Oh, the inflatable suit.
yeah.
Have you seen the ice skating one?
No, I saw the guy doing like parkour around a gym. It's really good.
You should check out the ice skating one. That's
I will.
good.
It's really because the head just goes in completely different directions than the body. But yeah, he's doing all these crazy flips and like swinging on stuff. It's really good.
Cool.
It's really good.
I didn't think to Google
see.
just YouTube inflatable.
Yeah.
T-Rex.
I'm sure there are thousands of other
Yeah.
examples of it, doing other equally funny stuff.
Yeah,
Good. Say goodbye to your day. I think if you
Yeah.
go down that
it's like shark.
YouTube rabbit hole.
It's like shark documentaries. They never Google shark documentaries on or YouTube them. I wasted a whole Sunday afternoon watching shark.
But now you know everything there is to know about sharks.
YouTube's terrible because you search for one and then it recommends about a million others, and there's a lot of shark documentaries on YouTube.
Why did you search for that first one, Andy?
I think I might. I don't know,
Sharks are fascinating creatures.
but there's so many.
Very
They're
scary,
good.
fascinating
Shark
creatures.
documentaries are awesome.
They are good. Sharks are cool. Don't like sharks, but they're cool.
Yeah.
Unlike spiders, which I don't like and are not cool. All
All
right.
then.
All right. Anything else? Anything else before we drift off?
No, I can't think of anything.
All right. No.
No.
You have to audibly say no, otherwise I'll
This
just
was
keep.
quite a random
going.
selection of.
It was. I mean,
it's good.
I mean, we don't live super active lives. I think when we were away from this for like 3 weeks, we actually accumulate some interesting stuff.
Yeah.
We are interesting in monthly installments, perhaps. But we'll have a proper theme next time. We haven't had a themed episode for a while. We've been doing updates and what we've been doing, so we'll come up with a possibly AI themed episode for 2 weeks because we've got some robot stuff to talk about. Cool. All right, let's get out of here.
Cool.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye
Cheers,
bye.
Guy.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye, Graham. He watches the video.
Meow.
That might have just loosened it, but
Excellent.
it'll be alright. It'll be alright.
Meow.